theyeshiva.net.
Okay, good morning, everybody. We're in the middle of the Chayav Einish Purim. We're on the end of 196, all the way on the bottom, the second column, the second to the last line. 196. There's two Chayav Einish, so this is the second one. 196, the second column, second line from the bottom, or Tzadik Ches, column 4, if you will. Vizel Pirush, you see, Vizel Pirush. After everything that has been explained, it says, Vizel Pirush Mashamar Azal. This is now the Pshat, and what the Chazal say in Masechtas Shabbos, Daf Peches. Mikan Meidar Rabba Loiraisa. The Rabbi says in Masechtas Shabbos, when Hashem put the mountain over their head, from here comes a Meidar Rabba Loiraisa, meaning a way of saying that it was forced upon the Jewish people. They can say there was a mountain over our head. And he says, but by Me'ach HaShverish, Hada Kiblua, there was a new Kabbalah Torah. And he asked in the beginning of the Myrrh, then it was also forced. So he says, the Pshat is Dahainu, Sheis Eiru Zuba Libum the Kabbalah Torah. Bebchinis Mesidis Nefesh Abitel, Ad Sheikdimu Nasa Lenishma, Loihoya Zem Mitzidam, Bebchira Viratzin Hashem Atzmum Levad, Elashade Hagilui Milmaila, the Bchinis Ahafti Yeschem, Al Yidei Zed Dafkinis Eire Bem Aratzin Va'ava. But now we understand when we said the word forced, what does forced mean? It means that the hisayrus, the arousal in their heart for Kabbalah Torah. And what did he teach Kabbalah Torah? A state where Nasav and Nishma, the complete alignment, the complete bittul, the Mesiris Nefesh and the bittul, where it's not that I have a will and then I debate if I should agree with you or not, or I should follow, but that there's no other ratzon, complete alignment. He said it didn't come from their side, meaning a complete choice and desire from themselves. They were compelled because of the tremendous revelation, the explosion of love, ahafti eschem aman Hashem. That's what brought out this type of ratzon and this type of ava. So the pshat in Mikan Meidar Rabbe al pi pnimiyus doesn't mean literally forced in the sense that they were anusim. You take somebody, you coerce them, you scare the living daylights out of them, and they want to live. So they do it, but they're completely not interested. It's like in halacha, maidah, Mesiris maidah, tell you of a zav, they force somebody to sell a house to gunpoint or something similar. So they have to sign a deed. So the person is not interested. They would do everything to get away from it. Then there's a question, because the tshuva by Achashverosh was also Misadik Zeres Haman. What we're talking about is the Parcha Nishmasan of Matan Torah. The Parcha Nishmasan, as he said, what's Parcha Nishmasan? That the sense of I ceased. There was no sense of separate I. It was the Nasav and Nishma that we spoke about, which allowed them to be able to hear the Vayered Hashem al Har Sinai. This bittul wasn't created from their own yigia, from their own inner toil. It came from the fact that they couldn't resist the infinite love, as explained earlier in the Maimer. That love, ahafti eschem, was reciprocated, kamayim haponim leponim. The face you show the water shows back to you. That same type of relationship. So this is a different type of force. It's not that, of course they wanted it, but it came from what? It came from the infinite experience that Hashem chose to show them in this full embrace represented by the Har, which is defined as Midas Avram Avinu Shekarei Har. Afal Pikein Hadar Kiblua B'Me'ach HaShverish. This is a deeper idea. The Gemara says that despite this, there was something that happened Purim that didn't happen Matan Torah. They re-accepted it. It's called Biratzin Gomor. What's Prat Biratzin Gomor? It doesn't say Biratzin, because Biratzin it was the first time also. Shahaya Mesiris Nefesh B'chol Yisrael Me Atzmo. The Chiddush of Purim was that this type of relationship came from within them. In other words, when you say there was a new Kabbalah Satira by Purim, it means that the same state of oneness, of bittul, that they had at Har Sinai that we spoke about, what Nasav and Ishma really means, they re-experienced by Purim because it's the only way one can experience the Ein Sof. Matan Torah is really, it's every day. It's the idea of relating, of absorbing infinity. So for that you need complete bittul. That's what they had at Har Sinai. This they had again by Purim, but the chiddush here was may atzmum. Shalaya yideis eredus malmayla betchila al derech gilui b'chinas v'yiminit echapkeni. This wasn't created through an initial explosion from above, like of a yiminit echapkeni, his right arm embraces me. The ha'az ha'ya b'chinas hester pondem. On the contrary, then there was a time of the opposite of kaf aleim har, in the sense of revelation, of the complete intensity of love. Al derech ve'es, similar to the pasuk in Koheles, he says there's different times for everything, right? There's a time for war and a time for peace and a time for silence, a time for quiet. He says the time to embrace, ve'es l'rachek michabek, and then there's a time not to embrace. That was put in v'yemino techapkeni is Matan Torah. That's the kaf aleim har. And then there's a time when there was a distance. In other words, it's who you are on your own. This is what the Gemara says in Chulin. Esther min ha-Torah min ayin. Tiksiv v'anoichi ahaster aster panei b'yemohu. What's the source of Esther in Torah? The pasuk in Vayelech, I will conceal my face that day. Esther comes from the word haster, concealment. So this was an arousal from below that came from themselves, mamaj themselves, from within their own. They had to find it within themselves. This is then the pshat in the Gemara, that Hadar Kiblu b'Me'ach HaShverish, there was a new Kabbalah b'Me'ach HaShverish, that this bittul to Ein Sof, to Elikus, was created through their own avodah, not from a revelation from above, because it wasn't a time of Yeminei Techapkeni. It was a time of Anoichi Haster Aster Panai. And he starts explaining. To understand this, Yuvan al Pima Shekas of Ish Yehudi Haya B'Shushan Abira. Ushmai Mordecai ben Yair ben Shimi ben Kish Ish Yemini. That's how the Megillah in chapter 2 introduces Mordecai. Asks the Gemara, V'tzarech lohavin, the Yemini, who Pirushu Meshevet bin Yamin Kede Pirush Rashi, Vim Kein Lama Karele Yehudi, Du Al Shem Shevet Yehuda. The Gemara in Masechta Megillah, and Rashi right there says, Yehudi usually means you come from Yehuda, Shevet Yehuda. But Mordechai came from Shevet Binyamin. The Megillah itself says Ish Yemini. Yemini is Binyamin. Binyamin is Ben Yamin. So it's Ish Yemini, meaning it comes from Binyamin. So why is he called Ish Yehudi when he was not from Shevet Yehuda? This is the Gemara's question in Masechta Megillah Daf Yud Beis. The Gemara gives a lot of different answers. One answer is that from his father, Yitaka came from Binyamin, but from his mother, he came from Yehuda. Usually the pasuk doesn't do the mother's Shevet, but over here it does. And then there's other answers. Gam tzarich lohavin the b'gzeiras Haman nemer lahashmed larago la'abedes kol ha'Yehudim v'nei b'sheva v'esrim v'meyemedin malchus ha'chashverish ha'yegam kol ha'shvatim Ephraim v'Menashe. Another interesting thing is that the first time Jews are called Yehudim is in the Megillah. All Jews. Till the Megillah, you will never find the name Yehudim for all Jews. There's Jews from Shevet Yehuda were called Yehuda. Generally, they're called Bnei Yisrael. Yeah. Excuse me. Yisrael would be a word. There's the original word, Ivrim, Avrama Ivri, Ivri Hebrews. Because the word Yehuda technically is only one part of the Jewish people. The Megillah is the first time, and since then that's how it became. You call Jews, Jews. The word Jew is an English derivative from Judah, which Judah, of course, is the English of Yehuda. Which really, it's not the proper name for the Jewish people. Bnei Yisrael is we come from Yisrael, we come from Yaakov. Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Yisrael. Ivri is, Avram was called an Ivri. The word Yehuda is only one shevet. This was introduced the first time in the Megillah. The Gzeir is La'ashmed La'arigol Abedes Kol HaYehudim. And when he said Yehudim, he didn't mean Jews from Shevet Yehuda. He meant every Jew, because in the Malchus of Achashverish, 127 provinces, you had ultimately Jews from other Shvatim, including Ephraim and Menashe, which are Malchus Yosef, not Malchus Yehuda, because even though Sancheriv, the Assyrians, exiled most of the 10 tribes before the Churban Bayis Rishon, so by the time Purim happened, which was after Churban Bayis Rishon, the majority of the 10 tribes have been exiled, but it's not like the only Jews that were around were Jews from Shevet Yehuda. You had Jews from Shevet Binyamin, of course, but you also had Jews from Shevet Levi, you had Jews from Ephraim, you had Jews from all the Shvatim. The question is, what was the majority, what was the minority? Till today, you have Jews from all the Shvatim. It's just that the majority of the 10 tribes were exiled. Yet, they're given all the name Yehudim. And that's how it remained. The reason is, Ella shenikru kulam Yehudim. The reason they're all called Yehudim is mipnei b'chines habittul sheyesh b'hem la'erin seif baruch. Mushtaka the Gemara over there gives one of the reasons is that he's called Yehudi because Mordecai was kaifer ba'avodah zarah. That's what the Gemara says. And that's why he's called Yehudi. What's the connection? The word Yehudi, he teaches, Yehudi represents the bittul to Erin Seif Baruch. What's pshat? Anoim b'shmeina esra moidim anachnu lach. Shal shem ze nikri Yehudi k'moshe kasav k'moshe amra Leah hapam oides Hashem al kein kadosh shmo Yehuda. The word Yehuda comes from the word Haidah. Leah, when she gives birth to Yehuda, she says, Hapam oides Hashem. Now I'm going to thank Hashem. I'm going to show gratitude. The word Haidah or Oida has 2 meanings. One is thank you, like Toda Rabba, Yumoida. And one is Haidah, like acknowledge. Like Reb Meir was Moida, or I'm Moida to what you say. It's acknowledging. Moidim chachamim l'Reb Meir. Haida v'loi bush. You have these expressions, huh? Moidim b'miktzos, yeah. Moidim doesn't mean he says thank you. It means he acknowledges, he actually submits. It's a form of surrender. There's also maida, like you're maida on your sin, like it's a form of confession, acknowledgement, confession, submission, surrender, acquiesce your opinion, and so forth. When we say maida in Shmeina Esra, it means thank you. Maida manachnu lach, I'm thanking you. But he says maida is also a form of submission, a form of bittul. In other words, it's realigning your ego with Ein Sof. In the Lashon of Torah. That's what he says. Habittul sheyesh b'hem lo Ein Sof baruch hu. What's the nekuda of a Yehudi? What makes a Yehudi? What's the core of Yehudi? The core of Yehudi is oneness with Ein Sof. That's what it is. I identify myself not in terms of separate reality, but in terms of oneness, a conduit for the light of Ein Sof. V'lechein nikra Mordecai ish Yehudi. Mordecai is called ish Yehudi. What's that ish Yehudi? Pirish sar liYehudim. K'may ish harabayis ki yuhaya makar habitl. The word ish in Chazal is, or even in Tanakh, is you're a master of something. Ish harabayis was called the person who was in charge. It's Masechta Midas, Perik Aleph. He was the man of Harabayis, like the man of the house. The man of the house. Ish Harabayis is he was the Balabayis of Harabayis. He took charge. What's Ish Yehudi? Ish Yehudi means he didn't only have Yehudi. He was the makar of Bittul. He was the master of it. He embodied it in its full mitzias, so he can give it to others. He can become a source for others as well, a teacher of it. This is indicated or intimated in the Gemara, also in Chulin, Mordecai and Yehudi. The Gemara asks, what do you know Esther? Aster upon him by Emo. What do you know Mordecai in Torah? The Ksiv Myrrh. This is this week's Parshas Sisa. Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu to prepare Psamim Rosh, to prepare a group of herbs and incense, which would then be dipped in oil. And this would become what's called Shemen HaMishcha, the anointing oil, which was used to anoint Aaron and anoint all the Kalim in the Mishkan, and later would be used to anoint special kings. It's called Shemen HaMishcha. The first ingredient was called Myrrh. Myrrh. What's Myrrh? Umetargeminan Myrrh Dachya. So if you look at the Targum, It's called Mordecai is Myrrh Dachia. Mordecai says that's the source of Mordecai in Torah. Myrrh Dachia sounds like Mordecai, right? Mordechia, Myrrh Dachia. That's Mordecai in Aramaic, which is the first ingredient for the Shemen HaMishcha. Umar Zeladas Harambam. Ushar Mefarshim who musk, Haniske begemara, Peter Ketzad Mavarchin, Shudam Chaya Yadua Shenikrish Bechatoitris, Shebetzavara Venasa Boisem Anikra Mar. Or Mar. You're familiar with deer musk deer. Huh? It's one of the most expensive, today they make it artificially, but one of the most expensive perfumes and sources of fragrance in the world. The Rambam and other Mefarshim say that this is called musk, and it's mentioned in Gemara and Ketzad Mavarchin, which is Masechta Brachas Daf Mem Gimel, which is the blood of an animal, Chaya Yadua. We call it today a musk deer or deer musk, a lot of forms. A lot of them in Siberia and a lot of them in India. The blood of this animal gets congealed in a certain lump in her throat, which they call a musk, and over there it's transformed into a boisem, which is an extraordinary source of fragrance and perfume, and it's called Myrrh. That's what the Rambam holds in his Yad HaChazak and Hilchas Klei HaMikdash, and many other Mefarshim, as he says. Many other Poskim holders. As he says in parentheses, Rak HaRayvid v'HaRamban Pirshu Binyan Acher. The Rayvid and the Ramban Taka have a different mahalach in this, but this is what most Poskim believe. Yeah.
It's not a gland?
Huh?
It's a gland.
From a deer, right? Huh?
Different animals have it. I thought it was a gland, but maybe not.
What? They call it, I think, the fragrance attracts the deer. I think it's called deer musk or musk deer. A gland, you're right, yeah. And this is a boisem. So they make it artificially, but this was the first ingredient of the Shemen HaMishcha. M-U-S-K, don't confuse it. If you Google the name, somebody else will come up first. But this is an animal. V'hainu b'midas hanefesh. What does this represent? And this is Mordecai. What's the shaykhis Mordecai with moisek, with musk? What's the shaykhis? V'hainu b'midas hanefesh. B'chinis iskafia v'ishabche memiriru lemiske. In the midas of a person, this represents subjugation and transformation from bitterness into sweetness. He's going to explain. Ki adam hu ha-nefesh ha-chiyunis nefesh ha-mesava. Uk'shamahapich ta'vaysev ha-bahamiyis mitanuga elam haza. Liyis kol chefzi v'tanugav b'Hashem. Zeu inyan shenasa mimenu boisem. This chaya that they used to call Yadua, according to most poskim, is not a kosher. It's not kosher. Which is why the Rayvid disagrees with the Rambam what murder it is. So you take the blood, what's originally the blood from a non-kosher animal, and it became one of the spices for the Shemen HaMishcha, for the Avodah in the Beis HaMikdash, and was used for holiness. This represents the avodah of transformation from something non-kosher. There's iskafia and there's ishapcha. Iskafia means submitting, like koifa, kofa aleim, and ishapcha means transformation. Yeah. So here you take what's called Myrrh, which literally means mar. It comes from the word also bitter, and it's transformed into the Shemen HaMishcha. So the blood of a chaya tmeya, which in spirituality means the chiyus of the blood is the life force of the nefesh hachiyunis, of the animal soul, the biological soul, which is the soul that craves anything that's material, and conceals the Ein Sof. This blood now becomes a fragrance. It's delicious, and it's geschmack. And it's used for the Shemen HaMishcha, represents the transformation of the behemoth inside a person into a tainug in godliness, in kedusha. That's what the concept of the Myrrh is. And he says, Al derech zeh yesh lefarish machloikes ha-poiskim b'Myrrh hanal. This explains the argument of the poiskim about this Myrrh. Sherabeinu yoyna matire afilu b'achila. V'yesh oisne moisei b'achila this vidulush leines hapechele reiche aval gufay aser b'achila. Rabbeinu Yoina Masechta Brachas Mem Gimel holds you're allowed to eat it. Some say you're not allowed to eat it because the reyach was taken in. The smell, yeah, but the guf itself is aser b'achila. V'arav Rabbeinu Yoina Svidalei Shechazar Legamri Lias Heter Commission is Boyer Betur Eire Chaim Simen Reish Yud Vav. Rabbeinu Yoina brings the Rabbeinu Meir Halevi holds you're not allowed to eat it. You only the smell becomes holy. But he says no. The Torah says Myrrh. It's matter the whole thing b'achila. What's the difference? If you say it's mutter b'achila, means the whole essence of it is now transformed, or only the smell. The smell, yeah, but it's mahus itself. When the blood is congealed, this gland you can eat, you can smell, but you can't say that it's something mutter b'achila. Or machloikasam al pichsidis. Al pichsidis, what's the machlokes? Talui beinyan aniska b'gemara gabe tshuva im zdainis nasa kishgogas lekizachis. It's based on the Gemara in Yuma Daf Peivav. If a zdainis, an aveda, is transformed into a mitzvah, or when you do tshuva, it's only considered a mistake. Kishneim inyan echad shu mashara nepach l'toiv sharei chaya yadua hanal hu yid'oini aniska b'toyre b'parshas shoftim shu meklippus hatmeyes k'meshakosov v'shoyel oivi yid'oini v'dereh shalamesim. They call this animal yadua, which is associated with sorcery. In Parshas Shoftim, they would use it for forms of sorcery, which obviously is considered a complete klippa. V'lachein zeh sheyih haboisim halazu mutter afilu b'achila hu k'moshe b'tshuva meyavas doinis nasu k'zochiyas shara nepach legamri liyas tov mamash. So when Rabbeinu Yoina holds that this boisim, this fragrance is mutter even to eat, it's like when tshuva, out of love, the negativity becomes a mitzvah. In other words, the rab becomes mamash tov. Aval b'tshuva shaloi meyaver rab as doinis hem kishgagas. Aval loinis hapchul gamri liyas tov. V'zel man da amar shamoir hanal af b'shereicha tov mekom mokem lechazal liyas mutter b'achil. That's like the second madrega in tshuva. In other words, the question is, how much can the clip of Myrrh be transformed? Like we said before, there's a skafia and there's a hapcha. If it's only a skafia means you identify it, yeah, but you don't become a victim of it. So that's one level of transformation. You still can't eat it, but the smell, it creates a very positive smell in your life.
So it sounds like it might be taken a step further in the sense that since he's identifying Mordecai and Yehudi in terms of bittul, then to say whether the Mordecai becomes actually kosher lachila or just the reach means not just that there's two types of tshuva, that there's two types of bittul.
Yeah.
It's not just the tshuva, we think of tshuva meira, but even bittul itself can be two types of bittul.
Yeah.
So at the Mordecai.
Yeah, very well. V'hinei Mordecai shenikra Myrrh dachya, Mordecai, who is Myrrh dachya, hainu shehu makar habittul. What's pshat he's makar? We said ish Yehudi, shu b'chinas yisoid abba shechach mei kayachma. This is the connection between Mordecai, Myrrh dachya to bittul, because the makar of bittul is also called yisoid abba, chachma is kayachma. We spoke many times, including earlier, that Abba is the father, which represents Chachma, which represents Bittul, Kayach Ma. The Kayach to say what? Yeah. What's Yisoid Abba? Yisoid Abba, every one of the spheres is a composite of the other ones as well. Like you'll have Chesed Shebechesed and Gvura Shebechesed. Yisoid Abba is the Yisoid aspect of Chachma. Yisod is associated with the bris. It's the ability for communicativity, for bonding, for connection. So Tzaddik Yisoid Olam, yeah. So Yisoid Abba is the ability to connect. So therefore, Mordecai is not just Bittul himself. He's Ish Yehudi. He's the Makar to be able to share it. Ubechachma is bariru v'lachein nikra Ish Yehudi dafka. That's what we mean. Mordecai is the source of Bittul. Mordecai's soul is connected to what's called Yisoid Abba, Ish Yehudi. He's a source that shares Bittul. And that's the idea of Myrrh Dachya, which is the fragrance of the Shemen HaMishcha that comes from the transformation, because transformation always comes through Chachma. The Gemara, the Zohar says, "B'Chachma is bariru." Transformation comes through Chachma, because the klippa of everything is its yeshus, its separateness, and when the Chachma is identified, that's where there's always the birur, the extraction of the true core of it. In Chachma, everything could be reborn. That's why Chachma is the source that can transform the Myrrh into Kedusha. In the two opinions of Rabbi the Rishonim, whether it's mutter only b'achila or even only the reach. What's the opposite of Haman? Who's mamish the opposite of Haman? Of Mordecai? I'm sorry, of Mordecai. Halchem ba'adalayada, so mele, there's no difference. V'hine Haman haya le'uma zeh shel b'china zu dafka. Haman was the great le'uma zeh, the great contrast to this quality. Kamaisha Amar, where do we see this? When he comes into the king, and the king says, I want to show honor to somebody whom I cherish. So what does Haman say in his heart? Kamaisha Amar, L'mi yachbetz hamelech lasas yikar yosim imeni. How could it be that the king should want to show glory to anybody more than me? Shahaya yesh v'dava be'enav. No kidding. The mitzias of Haman is, you would think he could say worse things about Haman. The worst thing he says about Haman is, Egeven ayesh. Because that's it. I know a lot of people who have a little yeshes. But that's the nekuda. That's where he couldn't stand Mordecai. That's the vort. The hatred of Haman to Mordecai is not personal. It's much deeper than personal. Mordecai embodies Bittul, and Haman embodies the antithesis of Bittul. V'nifrid me'achdusa yizbarich loymar niva afsiyet. V'meila Haman can't have a shaykhis to achdus Hashem, the oneness of Hashem, because his statement is, there's me and there's nothing outside of me. Mefayred beinamim, yeah. Yeah. What's Achdus Hashem in Al Pi Chassidus? It's not that God exists. It's that there's nothing outside of oneness. And Haman is the opposite. Ani v'af siyah, there's me and there's nothing else. The exact opposite. Ki hayim is Amalek. Haman comes from Amalek. Uksiv reish is goyim Amalek. The pasuk says about Amalek in Balak. Bilam says the genesis of the nations is Amalek, and what he means is Kizayin umas Haknani Chiti etc. Sheba pasagim Zayin midisroyis Taivus Ritzicha. VaAmalek ugasas haruach v'ureishis lem kigasas haruach hisheirish kol hamidisroyis. Amalek is considered reishis goyim. You have 7 nations that the Jewish people were commanded to fight in Canaan. They represent the 7 midos, the way they're expressed in toxicity. You have the 7 midos of Kedusha, Chesed through Malchus, and you have the 7 midas, the way they're expressed in the opposite of Kedusha. An example would be Ritzicha. There's Gvura. Gvura is discipline, strength. And then there's cruelty. The extreme would be murder. You have Taivus. You have Chesed, which is connections that are positive. And then you have obsessive connections. Crushes, addictions. It's also Chesed. Love. I love. But it's love that detaches you. It's love that's connections that are toxic. That's not the Shoirish. The Shoirish is Amalek. This is very deep. Deeper than Ritzicha, Chesed, Gvur, the deepest is Amalek. What's Amalek? What's the Nekuda? Amalek is the Nekuda of separateness. That's the Shoirish of all the Midas Rayas. You hear? The Shoirish of all Ra is not the Ra. The Shoirish of all Ra is the sense of brokenness, the sense of separateness. The gasas haruach. That's what it is. You don't recognize your oneness with the Ein Sof. V'lachein Haman shubchines gasas rotza lahashmid v'larig es kol haYehudim shein b'bchines bittel heipech hayesh v'hagasas. As long as there's a Jew alive, Haman can't rest. Why? Because every Jew is a Yehudi, even if he doesn't know it. This is the Alter Rebbe's observation what a Jew is. Every Jew is a Yehudi, and Haman knows it and feels it, and it drives him mad. As long as there's a Yehudi in the world, his reign is incomplete. There's something that reminds him and triggers a very powerful sense of anxiety in him. Yeah, the Gemara says this, the way the Gemara puts it in the Megillah Daf Yadalit is, the Gemara gives the story, Rabbi Abba says, to understand Haman and Achashverosh, you have to understand the story of a man who had a ditch in his garden, and he wanted to fill it with earth, and he saw a mound in somebody else's garden, and he thought to himself, if I can only buy the mound to fill the ditch. And when he met him, he said, can I buy the mound to fill the ditch? And he said, I'm trying to get rid of the mound. Take the mound, fill your ditch, and take it for free. So the Gemara says that was Achashverosh and Haman. So Al Pi Pshat, it's a strange mashal. What does it help you to know that? Fine, it's a cute story. Haman hated them and Achashverosh hated them. They weren't the first anti-Semites in history. But there's Mefarshim who ask even more. A ditch is empty. How do you fill the ditch? By taking the mound into your garden. Haman was not trying to take the Jews, he was trying to get rid of the Jews. But that's what he's saying. Haman had a ditch, an emotional ditch. What's an emotional ditch? A void. And some voids are very powerful. They just never go away. And the only way he could fill it is Lashmid Larig Alabedis Kala Yehudim. That's why the word is Yehudi. Because Haman represents the essence of Gasus. That's what he is. So therefore he wants to kill who? Yehudim. Why Yehudim? The word is Yehudi. Koifer Bavay Zara. Because the Yehudi represents that which is Heipech Hayesh V'Agasus, and this he cannot deal with. He can't stand it. V'ima yu koifrim chas v'shalom, la yu eisim lem klum, sharei legazer rak ala Yehudim, ach chulam ke'echad lo y'alla al daita machshavas chutz chas v'shalom, u'masru nafsham al achdusa yizbarach, v'zau b'chinas bittul hanal. V'yeshnoi b'koyach b'chol echad miYisrael. This bittul came out at that time. He says that the Gzeira of Haman was on the Yehudim. What's pshat on the Yehudim? Yehudi is koifer b'avodah zarah. And it's a very big chiddush, he says, that if they would have been koifer, Haman would have left them alone. Different than the Haman in our generation. Nonetheless, they didn't have a machshavas chutz, and they all had this type of bittul. And he says, V'yeshna b'koyach b'chol echad miYisrael. Afilu kal shebekalim. Yachol limser nafshe b'poel mamish. Shaloi li parid. Me'achdusa yizbarach b'shum oifen shabayla. This bittul of Yehudim is there in potentiality in every Jew, even a kal shebekalim. A kal shebekalim means somebody who's apparently very lightheaded. He's extremely lightheaded. He seems careless. Yeah. Even he, you could see, even a kal shebekalim has the capacity to have b'poel mamish b'sidus nefesh, not to separate from achdos Hashem for any b'shum oifen shabaylam. There were Jews throughout history, including in our generation. They were kal shebekalim. They weren't very committed or very inspired or very spiritual or very holy. And yet there's moments when their core relationship with Hashem was challenged. They're ready to give everything up, not to separate from Achdus Hashem. If this is true, if this bittul is true, why is this Jew doing other sins? So he says, Hainu b'nei haruach shtus, shemat'eu lachshav, she'enoi nifred me'akadosh baruch hu ha'idei aveira, he kivan sh'loiver tzitzis u'manich tefillin. Why this bittul doesn't stop him from other sins? It's because the Gemara says every sin comes from a ruach shtus, from a spirit of insanity. He teaches what's the spirit of insanity. It tells him that it's meaningless. Doing this or not doing this, it doesn't separate you. It doesn't mean anything. That's the ruach shtus that doesn't make him aware of what he's doing. He says, even a shomer Torah mitzvah, this bittul doesn't always come out. Only in special moments, because he also has a ruach shtus. Ruach shtus says, look, I'm wearing tzitzis. I'm a maniach tefillin. Ich bin a good yid. So if I'm a good person, so therefore, it doesn't necessarily feel that in a very deep place, he's not living a real connection. But that's all a ruach shtus. So b'meila, when it comes out, there's moments that the muhus comes out, this bittul emerges in its full glory because it's never really gone. The question is, if it's concealed at certain moments, the bittul is there. It's just the Yetzer Hara tells him this is not going to separate you. It's not a big deal. Yeah, you have it again. You'll have it in a father and a child. Yeah, a mother and a child. There's sometimes estrangement. Yeah, there's anger or a difficult relationship. If God forbid something happens to the child, the father and the mother will sacrifice their life. So what happened yesterday? That the father told him something, or the mother told him something, or the boy said something to the father and the mother, which represents estrangement. The answer is you're not always aware. It's called a ruach shtus. You don't really feel that this is going to separate. When it comes to something that life is at stake, the full relationship comes out, and you realize how close you are to the person. You don't always realize how close you are to the person, not because you're not close, because you think will not really make it or break it. But when it's obvious that this will make it or break it, suddenly you become aware of who you are. And that's what the Yehudi is. Mordecai really embodied it. And Haman feels this nekuda. And this is what Amalek is. It's not an individual taiva. Whether it's distorted chesed, or distorted gvura, distorted teferes, distorted netzach. It's the core of bittul to the Ein Sof that Haman cannot deal with. V'hinei b'chinis mesidus nefesh, nimshach machmas ava mesuteres shi l'mayla min adas. This type of oneness, where does it come from? It comes from a hidden love that's beyond das. It's not pshat. It's an intellectual experience, like a mathematical equation. That's not the word. V'lechein lo nisker b'Torah tam al mesidus nefesh. Rak al ava nemar tam, k'mo shekosov la'ava sarvaya lekecha kihu chayecha. Ve'ein ze tam al mesidus nefesh. Kivon sha'atam hu kihu chayecha v'arei mesidus nefesh hu lahashlich chayav mineged. You don't find in Torah a rational reason for Mesidus Nefesh. On Ava, it says, Moshe tells the Jews in Nitzavim, La'avas Hashem Elokecha, ki hu chayecha. He's your life. Everybody loves life. You love your life. And you realize the core of your life is Hashem, so he says love God. But that's not a reason for Mesidus Nefesh, because it makes sense rationally that I love life. But to give away a life, La'avas Hashem Elokecha means if you love yourself, if you love your life, the truth of that is God. But Mesidus Nefesh is the idea of the opposite of Kihu Chayecha. Ela inyan shein shayich tam b'seichel al Mesidus Nefesh. Says the emes is, you can't give a reason for it. Seichel can agree to something that strengthens your metzius, not something that transcends your metzius. Ki mesidus nefesh nilkech mebchina shalamayla min adas. It comes from a place that's deeper than das. It's beyond das. That's where it comes from. It comes from a core place in the soul. An intellectual idea you can explain. You do this, because of this. That's relating to a certain dimension of the person's identity, including Avas Hashem. La'avas Hashem Elokecha ki hu chayecha. Fakert, this will give you a better life. It's a truer understanding of your life, and so forth. Then there's a nekuda in a person that's deeper than that. And he explains, kihine, the pshat is, kihine, Pirish kihu chayecha, the inyan of kihu chayecha. What's the pshat of kihu chayecha? Hainu, mashahu yizbarach mamalik kalalman v'sevav kalalman, Shayideze mechayo mahava kolalman. The idea of kihu chayecha is that Hashem gives life to the worlds. Ukvar nisboyer la'el, the b'chinas mamala v'seiva v'urak ha'ara levad memeni yizbarach. Aval mohusei v'atzmusi yizbarach, eine begeder alman klal afilu li yiseiva v'mala la'alman. Kihu chayecha is Hashem as the engine of the universe, the DNA of the cosmos. That's kihu chayecha, whether it's mamale or soivav. But as we explained, both mamale and soivav are a ray of Hashem. The essence is b'chlal not begeder the worlds, not even as soivav for the worlds. Ki loy zehi ikir helakus masha olamis mishavim imenu mekablim chayusim imenu yizbarach. A line. This is not the ikir of Elikus, that the olamis are created from him and get their chayas from him. Lo yizeh ikir Elikus. The fact that all the olamis get their chayas from him, this is not the definition of Elikus. It's true. It's mamale, it's soivav, it's kihu chayecha. It defines the worlds, but it doesn't define him. It defines the worlds, but it doesn't define him. Share'atu hu actually nivra olam melacha shenivra b'shava mamash. V'gam ilu lo haya b'irei olam is haya hakal shava l'fon of his barach. We say you were before creation, after creation. And if there would not be b'irei olamis, everything would be shava l'fon of his barach. In other words, the creation doesn't make a shinui in him, because that's not ikir elikus. It's a ray of light. That's why creation is called yesh me'ayin, something from nothing. How could you say it's from nothing? It's from him. It's nothing. So one of the explanations is because the koyach eliki, the divine energy that creates the worlds, is called ayin legabe Atzmus. It's called ayin legabe Atzmus. It's like a ray, like the light of the sun, the ray of the sun relative to the solar core, the sun itself. Nobody's going to say makes an impact on the sun if there's a cloud blocking the light and the light comes into your window, doesn't come through your window. It's a ha'ara. It's ayin legabe the etzem of the shamash. K'moshe omrim va'ata, k'moshe kosa va'ata mechayes kulam. Pirush va'ata, hainu chav beis oisis dvar Hashem, me'ala va'atof, ve'hei moitzoyis, shadeya oisis mechayes kulam. Va'ata is aleph through sof, the 22 letters, and the hei moitzoyis, there's the 5 sources, the focal cords from where the 22 oisis develop. So these are the oisis that become the chiyus of the world. Va'oisis heimrak ha'ara levad, kamaya oisis ba'adam eirak levushei hanefesh. That's why it's called ayin. Oisius, by a person, are called levushei hanefesh. They're the garments of the soul. They're the ray of the soul. Oisius are just the way your soul is concretized and compressed in a certain form called oisius. It's called a ha'ara. It's called a levushei hanefesh. There's pre-Isis experience and post-Isis experience. So when you say kihu chayecha, he's your life, that's already describing Ein Sof as compressed in Isis. Atzmus itself is even beyond kihu chayecha. Kizeu rak hayosim amali v'soivav. Kihu chayecha is mamali and soivav mizenim shech la'ava kihu chayecha. And from this comes the love. I love you because you're my life, because I love my life. I love you because you're my soul. Aval ha'mesidus nefesh. Lahash lechayav mineged nimshach shaloi lipared mimuhusei v'atzmusi yizbarach. Sholamayla mechaya hachayim. V'kamei keloi mamish chashivi v'atu kaidem shenivra. Mesidus nefesh is rooted in the relationship of the soul with the essence mamish. Beyond bria, beyond life. That which completely transcends life. Because of that connection, he will give up everything not to lose that relationship. This is rooted in the place of Atzmus, which is even beyond what's called Chaye HaChayim. V'hine kol zeh sheyesh b'koyach kol echad miYisrael. V'lechein hayaz mesidus nefesh. B'payel mamish etzel kol Yisrael shlo leparid mechtusi yizbarach. This is deeper than Ava. This is deeper than Mamali. This is deeper than Sovev. This is beyond Das. This is the core of the soul that is one with Hashem's essence that transcends even Hashem as a source for life, and therefore it's more powerful than life. It's the only thing that's more powerful than life. And there's not a reason. You'll give a reason. Reasons you could give in the realm of the energy that's restricted into the realm of reason. It makes sense, and therefore I want it. In the realm where there's an I that wants to preserve itself. But this comes from a place that's deeper than all of that. So Mela, there's no time for it. But it's in the potential of every Jew. And that's why at that time of Purim, it came out by every Jew. Shaloi liparid machtusi yizbarach. V'zeh v'esmaimer Mordecai. This is the pshat. Esmaimer Mordecai. Ki Mordecai hayamakir habitl ish Yehudi. The Megillah emphasizes that Mordecai was giving the directives. Maimer Mordecai, Esther, Isa. The pshat is, but Mordecai is the source of bittul, and he inspired and brought it out in the Jew. V'zel v'kibel ha-Yehudim es-hashei chelu lasses, shebematan Torah shigdimu nasa l'nishma, v'al kol di b'parcha nishmasam, shubchines bittul l'mesidus nefesh, shelekach zachu l'matan Torah his galus alakus, v'kach Chayav b'me'ach ha-shveidish ha-bittul hazeh b'yeser se'ez. That's the connection of Purim to Matan Torah. By Matan Torah, the Jews, Parcha Nishmas, and their soul went out. We explained what was that? There was like Mesiras Nefesh, the complete bittul to Ein Sof. That happened again by Achashverosh, but much stronger. Why stronger? Ki b'matan Torah haya bittul zamachmas kayachis arusa de la'ela. Shakaf aleim har kegigis kamayim apanim leponim. Avol me'achashverosh haya bittul mitzad atzmam b'pchinas isarus l'sat atchila. By Matan Torah, there was a tremendous revelation from above, the love that we spoke about. By the times of Achashverosh, it was completely from within. And therefore they accessed even something deeper than my Matan Torah. To the point that Matan Torah is only called the beginning. It's like the beginning of the process. Because Legabe, the Oir, that they accessed on Purim, that's called V'kibel. They really accepted it. That was the Gemara, the completion, the Tachlis. By Matan Torah, it was an inyan of the Haschala, because Matan Torah came from above, Purim came from within, and therefore the Oir that came through Purim is a completely different Oir, because it came from a place that was from within, and therefore it's the V'kibel ha-Yehudim eis asher echelu lasses, a completely different inyan. There's a long parenthesis here of the Tzemach Tzedek. We explains it, but I just want to learn for another few minutes because I want to get back to one nekuda of Purim. So you look, the parenthesis continues till the next paragraph. It's a very long footnote of the Tzemach Tzedek to explain one of the milas of Purim. So Al Piza Yuvan, 198. You see in the middle of the page, Al Piza Yuvan. Al Piza Yuvan Maimed Azal, mamash a few minutes. Al Piza Yuvan Maimed Azal, Chayav Einish l'psumah b'Purim Adar lo yada. Shesimchas Purim atzumah v'yisedim asimchas sheb'yamtiv. Comes back now why we said Purim, the simcha is greater even than Yom Tov. And he asked, it doesn't make sense. Yom Tov is Minat Torah, Purim is not Minat Torah. Kihini al koa yomim tovim ksiv, ranenu tzadikim b'Hashem. Kumavur b'zoya truma de lekach oimrim mizmer zeh b'shabbosos v'yomim tovim. Tzadikim should dance, should celebrate with Hashem, which we say in Tehillim on Shabbos and Yom Tov, in the beginning of davening. V'hine havayu b'chinas ishtalshalus ha'olam es yud chachma hei bina. Havaya, we explained many times, represents the divine energy in the evolution of the worlds. You have Yud and you have Hey, Chachma, Bina, Midas, and Malchus. V'ranenu ba'Havaya, hainu shemamshichim toisvis or v'gilui milmayla b'shtalshlos b'seder ishtalshlos. What's ranenu ba'Havaya? Rejoice with Havaya, meaning there's a special new revelation in the Isis of Shem Havaya. Somebody makes a regular living, there's no special simcha. When do they dance? You win the lottery, you get a special bonus, something, an addition that you didn't expect. Yeah, a new child, a new simcha in a person's life. So what's Rananu Bahavaya? That on Yom Tov there's a new infusion of energy, of elikus in the world. That's the Rananu Bahavaya. The Havaya has a new increase. But Vihine Toisvis Erzo Gamkin Bashir Amida. But this additional light every Shabbos and Yom Tov that happens is in a measurement. Me'achar shenimshach b'shtalshelos chachma bina ve'enei aroich l'mohusi v'atzmusi yizborach ha'poshet b'tachlis ha'pshitas v'seder ishtalshelos urak ketipim min hayam. Because it's Rananu Bahavaya, it's an infusion of energy in Yudke Vavke within the evolution of the world. Obviously, it has a measurement. Whether it's in Chachma Bina, you can't compare it to Atzmus, which is completely undefined, and the whole Ishtalshlus is only like a drop of the Atlantic Ocean. Imagine I want to show you the Atlantic Ocean. I take a cup of water, say, here's the Atlantic. Does it come from the Atlantic Ocean? It's interesting. Here he gives us a muscle that's very visual. Does it come from the Atlantic? Yeah. Does this capture the Atlantic Ocean? In quality, maybe. In quantity, certainly not. In the Nimshal, it's say in quantity, say in quality. You talk about Hishtalshal, it's all God. It's all the Atlantic Ocean. But what is it? It's a tipim min hayam. So the whole simcha of Yom Tov and Shabbos is a new infusion in Seder Hishtalshalus. So what type of simcha is it? Mitzvah simchas Yom Tov shnemer v'samachta b'chagecha hi b'gvul u'midah. So there's a tremendous simchas Yom Tov, but there's a measurement. B'shalmei simcha ein simcha le b'basar, v'achshav m'shacharav b'samikdash ein simcha le b'yayin. The time of the Beis Hamikdash was with the meat of the karbonis. Now it's with wine. How much? He says a revius. A revius is a gvul. It's a shear. Because the whole simcha is based on gvul. What is it? That the boundaries of consciousness are expanded on Yom Tov. Now that's beautiful. That's amazing. Boundaries of consciousness are expanded. But the definition of consciousness is identity. And identity is defined by definition. And the additional infusion from the Ein Sof is within those structures. So of course it's structured. Mashenkin, there's only one Yom Tov that's different. Mashenkin Simchas Purim, Shasimcha G'dayla Yosel Amayla Me'adas, Ad Lo Yada. When the Chachamim said Purim is Ad Lo Yada, it's not Stam, get drunk, it's the opposite. Purim is rooted in a place that's Ad Lo Yada. What's Pshat? The bittul is Ad Lo Yada. It's rooted in the place of the soul that's beyond das. That's Ad Lo Yada. Hine bisarusa de lasato bittul zeh higiu lamayla mayla ba'atzmus ein seif baruchu shalamayla mayla megeder ishtalshlus sheine begeder soive v'mamala echuli shemizeh dafke nimshach p'chinas ha-mesiris nefesh kanal ba'ariches v'lachein ha-simcha megilu zeh hu lamayla mehadas by Yom Tov. It's an infusion within Ishtalshalus. The Simcha of Purim is the Simcha L'mayla Min Adas. Where does the Nekuda from a Sidus Nefesh come from? From a place that's beyond Das. What is it rooted in? It's rooted in Atzmus, which is beyond Das, even beyond Mamali and Soiviv. Over here, the definition of the Simcha is that it has no definition within Das. It's completely beyond any category, beyond any characteristic, beyond any definition, beyond any explanation, beyond even identity, which is defined by a certain eye of Ishtalshalus. But Purim is rooted in the oneness with Ein Sof that's beyond, even deeper than Matan Torah. Because Matan Torah, came from above, and Purim was from within. V'hainu ad lo yada ben aron Haman lebarach Mordecai. Ki behi golos niglis ehares Atzmus yizbarach kulam shavim mamash. Ukachashecha ka'ira. K'moshe kasav gam chayshech lo yachshech. Uk'moshe kasav im tzadakta matitin levirabu v'shecha matasala. How can they say you shouldn't know the difference of cursed Haman and Baruch Mordecai? When Atzmus comes out, so then the greatest darkness and the greatest light are identical. So that's the idea of Adar lo yada, bein order Haman lebarach Mordecai, the difference is not mitzad das. The difference comes from a place that's much deeper than das. And he finishes one last vart. Why, therefore, they wouldn't accept Isser Melacha and Purim? You remember he started Mordecai. This is Amnam le'inyan Isser Asiyas Melacha hu dafke b'yom tov v'loy b'Purim. K'mayim Azal l'besoif ksiv lasas eis memeshta v'simcha v'l'yom tov loiksiv. When it comes to not doing work, it's the other way around. Purim is not Asar b'Melacha, and Yom Tov, yeah. L'chayra, you just said Purim is greater than every Yom Tov. Va'inyin ki hi anoisenas. It's not a stid, it's this nekuda. What's pshat? What's pshat you don't do work? Ki hine inyin isur dasiyas melacha hu aliyas ha-seichel va'midus l'sharshim. What's pshat you don't do work? Not doing work means something. It doesn't just mean you sit on a couch. It means the seichel and the midas go back to their source. What's melacha? Melacha is projection. When I'm writing, or I'm planting, or whatever I'm doing, my koiches are being projected in a particular activity. What's the idea of not doing melacha menucha? The koiches go back, you reclaim them. Your midas and seichel that were involved in the melacha go back to their source. Shezau inyan hashvisa. Vu inyan aliyas ha'olam is kenoidem inyan kibay shavas. What is it by Hashem? Brias ha'olam is God projecting His energy outwardly, and menucha, so to speak, the world's going up, being reclaimed by their source. Kol ze Einish shayich ele ba'adar shebeseder ishtalshelus, the shayich shamaylo matav madrega. This all works in Seder Ishtalshelus. There's a higher level and a lower level. So you have the way the koyach is in the higher level, and the way it comes down in the lower, and the way it goes back up. V'lechein sheishes yom tasa melacha, v'achkach b'yoyim hashvi, shu madrega yoyser nailas har b'tishbis, liyas aliyas ha'olam is v'madrega shalamatl madrega shal yoynes yoyser. This is the whole idea of Shabbos. 6 days, God's energy is more restricted and compressed and projected in the world, so you work. Yom hashvi, the energy goes up, the worlds go up, so you rest. V'chein al derech zeh b'chol hayomim tovim, shenimshech b'hem tois v's'or v'gilui, v'ayidei zeh shayich isur melacha v'shabbosin me'amelacha, shu b'chinas asiyah l'madrega el yoynam mizgalos. Yom Tov, there's a gilui, you're in touch with a higher place of consciousness, so therefore, you must go up to a deeper place to absorb it, to be aligned with it, and that's expressed by not doing melacha. So that's Shabbos and Yom Tov. Not doing melacha is part of the organic, holistic experience of being aligned with the energy of the day. Melacha compromises that, it undermines that. This is all in Ishtalshelus, where there's a higher level and a lower level, and therefore there's Shvisa and Melacha. Aval Atzmus is barach. Sheine begeder almen klal, ein shayach klal b'chinas Shvisa shu aliyas hamadregas. Shadei mailo mata shaven etzle legamri. Shasiya gashmis im chachmei lo, shnei and shaven mamash kaloi chashivi. When it comes to Atzmus, not in the realm of the worlds, you can't say resting, going up to a higher place, because over there the highest and the lowest are mamash identical. Physical action with chachmei lo are mamash identical. So in Mela, there's no such a thing. You do shvisa, you're going up into a higher madrega. When you're dealing with atzmus mamash, it's not defined even by transcendence. V'lechein gabe Shabbos nemar, Shabbos lavaya, v'kanal binyan ranu tzadikim b'havaya. By Shabbos, it says Shabbos lavaya, like by Yom Tov, ranu tzadikim b'Hashem, because it's an infusion of oil within ishtalshelus. V'lechein bepurim muter basiyas melacha. And that's why Purim. You're mutter nasiyas melacha, because Purim is Adar lo yada, connected to Atzmus himself beyond the Almin. So there's not shaykh and Isser Melacha. Isser Melacha means you have to go to a place of ruchnius in order to tune into the consciousness of the day. When there's Milo, Mata, there's a higher Eid on Shabbos and Yom Tov. So you have to go out of the lower place into the higher place. Let's call it Ruchnius. And if not, you become a contradiction to the light that's shining that day. That's the idea of rest on Shabbos and Yom Tov. In other words, doing Melacha is a stira. It's a contradiction to the Eid of Shabbos and Yom Tov. That's all Shabbos Yom Tov. When you're dealing with Hashem's essence, mamish Adar Layada, nothing is a stira. Adar Layada ben Arham Baruch Mordecai. Chachmei Elah and Asiya Gashmis are mamish identical. The same truth in Gashmius is in Ruchnius. He's equally, infinitely removed from spirituality as he is from physicality. So you can't say that through transcendence you get closer to Atzmus. That's not the case. So what is it expressed in Purim? It's expressed in Purim. Purim is mutter melacha. Yom Tov not. Fakert. Yom Tov is yada. Purim is Adar Layada. Because Purim is Adar Layada, so therefore it's mutter melacha. When there's simcha in das, then you can't do work. When there's simcha beyond das, then no work could be a contradiction to that simcha. But Mela and Purim is beyond, there's no Isser Melacha. Okay. Yeah. You're saying every experience in life. Darf man der Herren Einoid Mulvada.
Mordecai, Adar, Haman, it's the same thing. Also the massive from Purim. That's what he's saying, I think. That's what he's saying. But he's saying it in a more...
Thank you.
Boy from Kabbalah. It's more bedas. It's more bedas.
Ich darf ja trinken, so verstehen Sie so.
Hast du nicht verstanden? Huh? Ich Yehudi, was ein Yehudi ist.
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.